Hello everyone, welcome for this new episode of Timeout from Tamriel, and thank you so much guys for your feedback and your comment. We had a pretty interesting discussion in the comments of the last week video. And this week there's 31% that really wanted us to speak about our Elder Scroll history and experience, so that's what we are discussing tonight. Timeout, Deltia.
Alright, so we're going to talk about each game briefly. So our history, I think, all begins at Morrowind. We didn't play Arena or the earlier game, so that's where we're going to start. And for me, Morrowind is still probably my favorite Elder Scrolls game, one of my favorite games of all time. And the fact that it was utterly game-changing to me, earth-shattering, that I could kill NPCs. That, like, the environment opened up right away, and it was like, whoa. I remember specifically making a flying potion where I could fly around, and like the game, the world was so malleable. It was just so creative. It was so different than anything. And I still dream about Morrowind. I didn't like the Dunmer storyline. I hated the Tribunal. But the fact that I could like go fight Vivek, the fact that I could go fly up into the thing and I saw up that little rock or whatever in the prison, it was just earth-shattering to me. I mean, it would just everything I wanted in a game, so explorative, and it's just still amazing piece of gaming culture, and that's what got me kicked off in the series, and that's why, I started being an Elder Scrolls diehard. It's because of that exploration, because of that openness. So, Sig, you have quite the different story, right?
Yeah, I picked up Morrowind on the old Xbox, and I was super excited for it. From reading about it and hearing people talk about it, and I got in and I played it for maybe 8-10 hours, something like that, and I just could not do it. There was something about the gameplay, the mechanics, the controls. I'm not sure. There was something about it that just did not work for me, and I ended up putting it down and never going back to it.
Oh, man!
I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, concerning me, I need to speak a little bit about my real life at that time in 2000.
RL story.
In 2003, I was living with my ex-boyfriend and several friends, and I was a very young gamer, so I started very late video games. My first computer, I had it 1 year earlier than that, something like that, and I was basically playing in it was a constant LAN party in my house. There was always people playing games, and so I was basically playing multiplayer games like Dungeon Siege, Neverwinter, Heroes of Might and Magic 3, that kind of games. And a friend got me Morrowind, and so I started to play it, and I really loved it. It was wonderful, gorgeous, amazing. I could do what I wanted. I could adventure, kill someone, steal his house, stuff my stuff in the barrels, install my little laboratory on the table, and I was role-playing with myself, going to take off my clothes to swim in the river in the morning, and that silly stuff. But there was a problem, several problems for me. First, it was in English, and at that time I was not really good in English. I had just a scholar level, and so it was very tedious for me to read all those texts. I had the need of having a dictionary next to me, and so I could not be captivated into the story. So the lore and the story didn't work it on me at all at that time, just the exploration and the adventure. The second problem is that I was usually playing in multiplayer, so there was no space in my house. It was not in the culture of the house to play solo games. I was always criticized if I was playing alone and I should play with the other and such things. And the last thing is that I felt lonely. When I was walking in Balmora, I was already dreaming about the Elder Scrolls Online. I wanted it to be a MMO. MMO is really what made me buy my first computer, so I didn't play so much Morrowind because of that.
Okay. Then fast forward to Oblivion. Oblivion was a step up and a step back, in my opinion, for the franchise. The Oblivion Gates and the story I found utterly just amazing. I love the quality of the storytelling and the Daedra and the gods and going through the Oblivion Gate the first time and closing one. Never, never forget that. But it felt like I didn't like the leveling. I did not like the character progression. Like the fact that rats at level 5 would scale with you was baffling to me. The gameplay was really fun. I liked the first person, but I didn't like it so much. I still like third person. I like to be able to see my character and see the armor, see the progression being made versus other things. And then also it felt a little bit more restrictive than Morrowind. And the fact that I couldn't do as much spellcrafting, I like that aspect of it. It felt kind of restrictive. And while the graphics and the storytelling was much better, I thought that it was a step back in terms of exploration and progression. So it wasn't necessarily my favorite. So shutting the Oblivion Gates down and doing the main story is an all-timer. Just wasn't my favorite of the franchise. Definitely not my favorite. Sig?
Did I mention I'm a horrible Elder Scrolls fan?
No, tell us why.
I had hopes for Oblivion because I wanted to play Morrowind. I liked what I was seeing, and when Oblivion came out, the different articles in the gaming rags and talking to friends who had it and stuff like that, it sounded like it was my cup of tea. So I picked it up, and I think I played Oblivion less than I played Morrowind. I just couldn't get along with the way the game played. I don't know why.
Never went back.
Never went back. I've still got the disc sitting here somewhere, Xbox 360 disc around here somewhere, but it's never been touched again.
People will hate me. During the release of Oblivion, I was playing World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft is the game that's made... I was a casual gamer before World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft is what made me a gamer. A real one. I play exclusively World of Warcraft for 5 years, and when I say exclusively, I mean exclusively, completely exclusively. So I didn't play it Oblivion. I think I got it for one night, but very later after the release of Oblivion, because I didn't have internet and I had something to do, I just played it one night, and that was it. It was a solo game.
You had a one-night stand with Oblivion then.
Yeah, exactly. I managed to get out of the prison and to get in the Imperial City. The end.
Am I like the Elder Scrolls purist out of the group? I never thought this would be the case.
I know that people will be surprised, I guess.
All right, so Oblivion kind of for all of us wasn't a home run. Now, are you ready to fanboy and fangirl out on Skyrim? Ready?
Yep.
Ready.
Okay, Skyrim came out. I lost my poop. I'm not gonna BS it. I was just like, oh my god, dragon in the air. This is the greatest thing in the history of humanity. I stayed up. You guys know me. I go to bed at 9 o'clock. I go to bed. I stayed up for 48 hours. 48 hours. I was teaching for the federal government on travel in Baltimore, Maryland, and I bought a $2,000 laptop so I could play this thing on release.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, it was that big of a deal. I played it the entire weekend because it came out on a Thursday night, and it was Veterans Day. I worked for the VA, ironically, and we had Friday off. I went ham. No one saw me the entire weekend. They're like, dude, like, what's going on with you? You all right? I'm like, Skyrim. Skyrim. Oh my god. But then after about 150 hours, there's something about a multiplayer game. There's something about experiencing the game by yourself. Once again, I was bothered by the character progression. I figured out, I use the clever mechanics in games to make myself super powerful. That's just what I like to do. And so, why not rubber band my mouse together while I go to sleep and get level 50 in armor or whatever? Why not do those things? There was no challenge after a while. And even playing on hard mode, playing with add-ons, it was just like artificially enhanced it So the funniest thing about Skyrim was the story was utterly amazing, graphics, the experience, one of my favorite games of all time, but it was lacking the the for me to keep on going because not of the story, not of the awesome quest, but the progression. Never liked it. I did not like that part about Skyrim. So that's going to be interesting. I can't wait to see what you guys say about that. Now, Sig, were you a Skyrim fanboy?
Well,
Oh,
having
oh well,
spent
oh.
having spent 50 or $60 or whatever the price was for new games at the time on both Morrowind and Oblivion, I was pretty much just ignoring Skyrim when it came out. It's like it's going to be the same thing. It looks pretty. I'd really like to look at it, but I'm gonna blow $50 on it, and that's all I'm gonna do. So I was ignoring it. And at the time, I was real heavy into Lord of the Rings Online, and so that's where probably 95% of my game time was going. When I wasn't playing that, I was playing Fallout 3. And it didn't click at all for me, but I was talking to a friend 6 months, a year, something like that after Skyrim came out, talking to a friend, and he was like,
Same
Elder
game.
Scrolls and Fallout are basically the same thing, right? And I was like, no, they're not. He goes, yeah, the mechanics are basically the same thing. Different settings, but it's the same. You're controlling your character the same way. It's the same gameplay with a different story. And I was like, you know what? You're right. So I, kept that in mind. I kept doing my thing with Lord of the Rings Online, and it was like during the Steam summer sale or something like that a few years back, Skyrim was on sale for $15, and I was like, what the hell? And I bought it. And before I knew it, I had 350 some hours in Skyrim. I was just going crazy with it. And then a friend gave me a copy for the Xbox. And the same thing happened there. So I've got 600, 700, some, I don't even know. I've got hundreds of hours in Skyrim, just completely running around like an idiot, doing the quests sometimes, just running around looking at things other times, and just going nuts with it. And that is what sparked my interest in the franchise. And I've actually gone back and have researched and looked into the lore aspects and the storylines and stuff like that of what had happened prior, not necessarily chronologically as far as the story goes, but what happened prior in the prior games.
Okay.
So the lore I love, and I sometimes I think about going back and checking out the other two, but it probably won't happen.
All right, Aloha.
Well, Skyrim is Skyrim. It's one of the only solo game I managed to play a bit seriously. So I played it at release intensively until the release of Star Wars: The Old Republic. I played it every day like I'm usually playing MMO, so all my free time was gone in Skyrim. I made a Nord barbarian, and by barbarian I mean light armor and 200 axe, and she was awesome, and I felt so nationalistic about being a Nord. I hated everyone else. I wanted to kick out the Riftman. I hated the
racist.
Imperial. Oh yes,
Racist?
I don't know. I'm usually not. I'm a hippie, but when I was playing my Nord, I felt so much like I belonged to the grounds. I was rooted in Skyrim. It was my land. It was my country. I had to defend it. And then she had a companion, and this companion died. And I made funerals for him, and I was very sad. The thing is that I have difficulties to play solo games. I'm a social player. I'm a MMO player before everything, and I feel easily lonely. And so after my companion died, I stopped to play. I get back Skyrim, however, once I was interested into the Elder Scrolls Online. So as I was waiting for the Elder Scrolls Online, I started Skyrim again, and then it went a lot better because I was streaming it in the same time, so I was chatting with people. I didn't felt all lonely It kind of seems weird because those games, I love them. I love it Morrowind, I love it Skyrim, but the solitude was too heavy for me. It's like I'm enclosed in a world which is completely desert and barren because there's no other real person. I can't stand solo game because of that. I feel depressed after a while, even if the story is amazing, even if the world is amazing. So my second try of Skyrim went a lot better because of the stream chat, and also I really try to prepare myself for the Elder Scrolls Online. So the Elder Scrolls Online is my dream game, and I knew it since Morrowind that it was the game I was
Oh
waiting
my
for.
God. I'm the ESO purist. Wow. This is the best timeout from Tamriel ever. So, what do we think about ESO in the terms of? Oh wait, we're 15 minutes in.
Yes,
Oh,
that will be a
oh,
nice subject for next week.
oh, burn. So, what are our subjects next week?
So next week, guys, if you want to know what we think about the Elder Scrolls Online, how it fits the Elder Scrolls franchise, or the drama of the week, the XP boost, what we think about
Oh,
that.
XP boost, or where we think ESO fits into the whole landscape of the series. Really strong topics. Well, I know that I love this franchise, this series. Nothing else makes me feel this is my fantasy world. Like Star Wars, and you know, I like the Star Wars sci-fi stuff. But if I'm talking fantasy, it's Elder Scrolls. It's the scroll, bro. And I love the series. And so, coming from a fanboy, maybe you guys understand a little bit more now why I love it so much, right? Come on. You
Yep.
never thought the fanboy was really an ESO fan, did you? You didn't know that. So cool. Well, it's been a great episode. Thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to see what you guys vote for next week.
Yeah, see you next time. Bye bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you.